Hey, welcome back, guys. How's it going? I have the new Granfia from Set 9. Let me tell you, this deck's pretty good. This deck, I don't think this is like better than Jet or anything, but it feels like this just feels good. Like it's a really strong deck. Um, we'll get into it. I'll show you some of the funny stuff with this deck. So you have save the token for a second. Basic starter draws you a card. Uh, When the grade 2 Granfia rides over it, you just call a plant token. That's kind of free. This grade 2 here, I hope they do more ride lines like this because I love this kind of effect. It's if you have him in your soul, and you have a plant token on your rear guard, when you go into your grade 3 Granfia, you don't discard. I just think that's pretty nice. It just saves you cards in hand because I always feel like after a couple discards, I just don't know what I want to discard for ride anymore. And then the main boss of the deck is Laven Lord Granfia. So what he does is you can Soul Blast 1 and take all of your tokens and make a Noblesse Rose token. Oop, there you are. And then put all of the tokens on your board underneath this card. All right, and then at the end of a battle that it swings, uh, you get to you can get rid of either a Noblesse token or a 5 of its gauges, or you could do one of this and 4 of the gauges, whatever. You restand one of your rear guards, and it gets +5 for each card or each gauge that you got rid of. So, but it's only up to 5. So normally you're just restanding something for +25, which is insanely good. So what are the plant gauges and what is this card? So she gets +5 for each plant gauge under her. So if you have 10, it's a lot. your opponent's perfect guarding it or they're taking it. It's a decent bit of damage. Also, if your unit would retire for an ability, you can just get rid of a plant gauge instead. So there's only one unit in the deck that I have that really does that, but that's kind of nice because whenever you call a plant token with this, it doesn't go to your board anymore. It just goes underneath here. So you can call as many plant token makers as you want, and they just go under here. You won't get any more rear guards out of it. Um, so yeah, basically the idea is you're pumping this up as big as you can, and that will make your Vanguard column horrifying, and then your front row rear guard is just going to be really good. So that was it for the ride deck. I'm going to go to. Oh, cards got a little mixed up there. Let's just fix that real quick. Okay, there we go. Go on to the grade 3s. 3 copies of the Persona Ride, 1 copy of the Grail. Persona Ride feels kind of insane in this deck. Not. Oh no. What happened? Why'd you move? Well, we'll shift it over. Technical difficulties. Don't worry about it. So Persona Ride feels just insanely good in this deck because once you hit Persona Ride, like your your rear guards are hitting for like 23 or 20, and then they're restanding and they're hitting for 45 or 48. Big numbers. We do like big numbers in this house. Um, so playing extra copies of your Persona Ride, never a bad idea, right? I'm playing 1 copy of Prolific Orange. So you can counterblast 1, and you make 2 plants. I'm kind of only playing this because I have the frameware, if I'm being honest. I think it just looks pretty. But it's never bad to have just like a. You don't really burn counterblast in this deck that much, except for like 2 units, but even then, you really never get that close to like losing out on counterblast. So it's not a huge issue. And then 2 copy of Bursting Peas. Now this card's pretty good. So when it attacks once per turn, you counterblast 1, kill a plant token. This gets +10 until end of turn. So you'll obviously have your Noblesse token. So you'll be swinging with this, and you'll be counterblasting 1, and then killing a plant token. This swings for 23. You can include the booster in there too. So let's say that's 28, right? Then you use Granfia to restand this. He gets +25, so he's swinging by himself for 48. It's just free. I'd play more of it, but I don't feel like I've ever wanted more of it, you know? Mostly because I try to rush really hard on grade 2 with this deck, so I've never just felt the need to have more of it. But if you wanted to play more of it, you could cut this out, put an extra copy of this in. It's not really a big deal in the grand scheme of things. Going on to the grade 2s, we have the Ran Orange. Beautiful. I love this card. I think it's adorable. So on play, this effect is generic. You just make a plant token. That's just pretty good. It's a 10k body, very nice. And at the beginning of the battle phase, if he's in the front row rear guard, you make another plant token. If you're on Granfia, so it's like, oh, you get if you call this down, you're getting 2 a turn off of this card alone, filling up your plant gauge. Very nice card. It's free also, and yeah, not a lot to say about that. This card, however, this card is insane, right? So she has the same ability as the order card, which is Counterblast 1 when activated, or for her when played, make 2 plant tokens. So she's my best early game rusher because you can. I'll show you at the end, but like you have a very consistent turn 2 board, and most opponents will not enjoy that turn 2 board, but like it's so good, and she does it for a Counterblast at 1. And I'm playing 2 copies of Calderina if she wants to get on the screen. I guess the technical issues hitting. So at the end of turn, you can kill her. You make 2 plant tokens. She's just a 10k beater, pretty much, right? Like you can make the 2 plant tokens and fill up your plant gauge at the end of turn, which isn't bad. But there's not like a bunch of grade 2s that make plant tokens super good. So having extra 2 copies of this is nice. You could play the double rare from set 1 that lets you bring stuff back. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is just a bit better of a card because you're not normally. You don't. I don't know. I think this is just better. I don't. I feel like the extra revive doesn't matter, especially for the Soul Blast, because I have Soul Blast on things I'd rather spend it on, which is the next card going into the grade 1s, which is my next favorite card in the deck, Farmin' Pumpkin. Do you see how adorable this card is? He's got like 3 birds on him. Like, oh my goodness. I will not lie. When these cards were getting revealed in Japan, the moment I saw these two, I was like, I'm building this deck. This is adorable. So what he does, if once per turn, if you're on Granfia, you can Soul Blast 1 and make a plant token. But if you're on a grade 3 Granfia, you make 2 tokens. So that's just really good. You get a bunch of value for that. You basically always will have if you see one of each of these, which you're very likely to, you just always have 4 to 3 gauge, like right at your fingertips, just by simply existing on the board. It's just good. And then probably the best Stocheia card in a while, the Burrow Mushrooms. So it's partially generic, so you can put it in Soul and make 2 plant tokens. That's very nice. That might come up in a future deck profile. But you can also, if your Vanguard is Granfia when you do this, you get to give a unit +5. So it's kind of nice, right? If we're using Burst Peas as our beater of example, Burst Peas will swing for, if you give him the +5, he'll swing for 28, and then he'll swing for 53, which is just a very obnoxious number to guard. So it's pretty good. It's very good. I'm playing 1 copy of her. I feel like I could play more and cut out Calderina, but I don't know. I haven't. I'm not sold on this yet. I think she is good for the Grave Recursion she is, just because she's a counterblast and we don't use much counterblast. But I don't know. One has been fine so far, and then 4 perfect guards. If you got a Sentinel, if you got the Elementary Sanctitude, you run that instead of one of these. But realistically, 4 perfect guards for this deck is fine. And the big reason I can kind of say that is you're normally out grade 2 gaming the Chrono Jet matchup, so it doesn't hurt too bad. One over trigger, 8 crits. If you want the effect crits, you play the effect crits. I found these and I was like, you guys will work. The soul hasn't really come up, so I'm not gonna cry about it. Draw trigger with shield, very good. We love that. And 4 heals. Of course, it has to be the rhythmic kiwi to go with all of our other fruit friends or vegetable friends in this deck. But yeah, the trigger line is pretty straightforward. I saw a random guy playing fronts, and I guess you could play fronts if you really want to, but I'd rather just flip crits and knock my opponent to 5 and then make them not enjoy the late game against this deck. So going off of what I was saying earlier, right? So let's say, you know, we'll turn this around like this. Vanguard circle can be up here. I'll just get that there. Let me show you how like your normal turn just off one card, right? You have her in hand, and then you have like some discard fodder. You ride into this, you make a plant token. It's cool. Call her, counterblast 1. You got 2 plant tokens. You can kind of consistently, even like if you have something like farm and pumpkin, or you have the orange, you'll always have a similar grade 2 turn to this, and you just turn cards sideways, smack opponent's face. It is very powerful. Not very powerful, I guess. If they hit a defensive, it kind of sucks, but if they don't hit a defensive, they kind of just look at you like I'm not enjoying your turn right now, because you just beat face, and it's pretty good. Um, Farming pumpkin can also help you, but like I said, this is just a one card. Other cards can make it like to this kind of board too. Um, it's good. Like you could just stay down on this if you wanted to, and then your opponent's kind of got to look and be like, well, uh, if they're Chrono Jet, they got to look and be like, do I just I do I ride up just so I can get extra cards in hand, and then you go into this, and then you take those extra cards out of their hand. Um, it's a very solid deck. I don't think it's the strongest Stocheia deck. I think it's like I want to say it's up there, right? Because I think it's better than Rorwa, and it's better than Magnolia right now. Um, I don't know if I'd say it's better than Zorga, because I think Zorga is just really, really solid. Um, but it is better than at least 2 of them, at least in the current meta. So I think it's definitely worth like if you. These cards are dirt cheap too, by the way. I probably should have mentioned that. Besides like the one copy of her, and I guess the Grail, everything in this deck is below. Like each card is below $2. And I'm only saying that because I think he is $2, but otherwise everything else should be a buck or below. Like, it's a very cheap deck if you're just looking to try something out, and I definitely recommend it because it just feels like you kind of get a decent early game rush against your opponent. It's just very nice. Well, that's going to be it for today's video. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye.